what's cooking? I'm Bella and welcome back to my kitchen. If you're new to the channel, welcome as well. Please take a moment and subscribe. Make sure to turn on the notification bell as well so you get notified every time a new recipe drops. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this fresh chickpea pasta filled with a delicious sun-dried tomato and chipotle filling. I will be using the sun-dried tomato and chipotle spread from Bella Sanlucci. It's delicious. So it comes in a 7-ounce or 8.5 ounces, and you wouldn't believe what a perfect combination this is. So you can check them out at Bella Sanlucci as well. But the sun-dried tomato with the sweetness and savory blended with the smokiness and the heat from a chipotle is just a perfect combination. So I'm very excited to share with you how to make the filling. So let's go over the list of ingredients for the filling. Ricotta, Parmesan cheese, sun-dried tomato and chipotle spread, egg, and we're going to season with salt, garlic powder, oregano, black pepper, and nutmeg. And because I have this mini food processor, I'm only using part of the ricotta. I'm adding the sun-dried tomato, Parmesan cheese, and egg, and blend until smooth. So now that the filling is really well blended, like a paste, I'm removing this and adding the rest of my ricotta and all the seasoning. And then we're going to stir it up well. And this is it. Our filling is ready. So go ahead and reserve it. Now to the pasta dough recipe. Chickpea flour, salt, egg, filtered water, and olive oil. I will be using my KitchenAid to mix the pasta dough, but you could mix it in by hand. So I'm adding the chickpea flour, a little bit of salt. You don't need a lot of salt. I like to also add salt to my cooking water. And then the 2 eggs. We're going to add water a little at a time. I actually got here the spoon. So I know that for this amount, I can easily put 3 tablespoons of water, but then I'm going to add as I go. Here's the olive oil. And like I said, I know 3 for this amount of flour, and egg ratio is good. So now I am going to blend it in and see if it needs more water. So this is pretty good. It is wet. I do want wet. I'm going to dust with flour as I open. I'm going to finish incorporating by hand, and then I'm going to let it rest for about 30 minutes. So for this tutorial, I actually made the filling ahead of time just for the logistics of the video. But what I would recommend is that you make your dough, let it rest outside of the refrigerator, cover, and then you make your filling. Simply because the garbanzo is going to absorb some of this water and hydrate a little bit. So you see how it is nice, smooth. I'm going to just knead a little bit more. And in about 30 minutes, it's not going to be as sticky. You could add a little bit more flour if you don't have the time. But I just noticed that I get better results when I do let it rest and hydrate just for 30 minutes. Also, while the dough's resting, I took the time to get my setup ready. So I have my pasta machine ready to go. I also have the ravioli mold and this cute rolling pin, which comes with the mold. I have extra chickpea flour for dusting. And I transfer the filling to a pastry bag. If you don't have one, that's okay. You can use the Ziploc bag, or you could place it by hand with a small spoon. Then I got a couple plates just to place the ravioli once they're ready. And I'm not entirely sure I will be using this, but this is to place the sheets as I'm rolling them. And now, let me just show you how beautiful this looks. So now I'm going to dust my surface, and with a rolling pin I'm going to flatten out this big ball of dough so it can go through the number 1 on my pasta machine. We're going to roll and open until number 5. Oh, it feels so good. So I open a little bit with my hand, and then I'm going to cut it in 4. Now, because my dough is pretty wet, I have to make sure it is completely dusted before I roll, because what could happen is it's going to get stuck in the rollers, and we don't want that to happen. So every number that I roll, it's going to stretch, of course, and then make sure it's very well dusted. So we're going to do a time lapse so I don't bore you to death during this process. So from 1 to 5. Now we're going to remove our pasta machine out of here. We are going to dust the ravioli mold, and if you don't have a ravioli mold, that's quite alright. I actually just bought for this tutorial. I usually use just a cutter, and if you don't have a cutter, that's fine as well. You can just cut it with knife, and I already mixed in some egg wash. So we're going to place the dough, try to align with the line in your tray, and then gently I want to push it in a little bit because I want to try to get a lot of filling in there without rupturing the dough. And this is also why it's important to do it right away and not let your pasta dry. So I'm going to just put a little bit on each. I don't want to overfill. Alright, so now I will come with the egg wash. So now we're going to get another piece, although this is not as wide. Oh, so I'm losing one right there. 2 probably. Okay, so now with the pin we're going to roll until we can see the marks, the zigzag marks from the mold. This is the cutest. Alright, so removing the sides. Look how cute. I always get asked if you can freeze it. Yes, you can. So if you want to freeze it, dust the surface really well with flour, and then you're going to place on a cookie sheet. So make sure they're not on top of each other. Then put a plastic film on top, more flour, and then more ravioli, and then put in the freezer. Once they're frozen, you can remove from the cookie sheet and then just place it in a bag, okay? The raviolis are ready, and it does look like I have some cleaning up to do. If you have any questions or feedback, please leave down in the comments below. You can also use this filling if you're not up to the task of making your own fresh ravioli. You can stuff jumbo shells or any other store-bought pasta. And if you're not up to the challenge of making fresh ravioli, but you want to make the chickpea pasta, this is also going to work for fettuccine or spaghetti, or if you have an extruder pasta maker. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.